What if China's most adored male stars weren't just acting out love, but quietly living a truth the industry fears? In 2025, rumors swirl louder than headlines, from stolen glances to silent statements. Are we chasing fan fantasies or uncovering hidden stories of queerness behind the fame? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're ready to hear what's not being said, you're in the right place. Welcome to Rainbow Vibes. Wang, the man who redefined the brooding bad boy in Meteor Garden and made half the internet fall in love with a single smirk. With his skyscraping height, razor-sharp jawline, and that dangerous mix of aloof charm and quiet intensity, Dylan doesn't just play a heartthrob. He is one. But beyond the on-screen romances and screaming fan meets, something quietly lingers, a different kind of rumor. One that doesn't ask, who's he dating? But rather, why is he always dodging the question? It started small. Whispers on forums, fans noting the way Dylan avoids public dating scandals, despite being constantly shipped with his female co-stars. And then came the viral clips, the ones where he's caught gazing a little too long at male co-stars or dropping soft compliments that fans dubbed too affectionate to be just bras. One fan even resurfaced an old interview where Dylan admitted he was obsessed with male aesthetics and liked to analyze how good-looking other men were, a line that set the internet on fire. Another moment? That behind-the-scenes footage where he casually reached out to fix a male co-star's hair. Tender, natural, and oddly intimate. And then there's his fashion, risky, androgynous. From lace shirts to eyeliner, Dylan embraces a kind of fluid masculinity that screams confidence, or perhaps coded rebellion. While some dismiss it as Gen Z flair, others read between the threads. As one fan wrote, he doesn't scream "I'm gay," but he sure whispers it beautifully. Of course, Dylan has never come out, and maybe never will. Maybe he's just comfortable blurring lines, or maybe he's been told to stay in them. But the beauty of Dylan's story isn't about finding a label. It's about why we want one so badly. Why do we obsess over queerness when it's only whispered? Why does a tender glance stir more headlines than a scandal? In the end, whether Dylan Wang is gay, bi, straight, or simply private, doesn't that mystery say more about us than it does about him? Maybe he's not hiding. Maybe we're just not listening. They call him the Saint, not just because of his stage name, but because Anson Lo from Mirror has this almost angelic glow about him. The kind of charm that makes aunties swoon and teenage fans burst into tears just by watching him blink. But behind the perfect jawline, the killer dance moves, and that soft-spoken humility, something's been quietly shimmering beneath the surface. Over the years, eagle-eyed fans started noticing things, like how his Instagram captions felt unusually poetic, or how he gazed at certain male members with just a little more warmth. Coincidence? Maybe. But in the world of Asian idol culture, where every gesture is PR filtered, those glances don't just happen. Things got louder in 2022 when he starred in Ocean's Love, the Hong Kong remake of a Japanese BL drama. His on-screen chemistry with co-star Edan Lui was so electric. It short-circuited the internet. And let's be real, Anson didn't just play gay. He embodied the role with an emotional depth that made people go, wait, is this acting or is this personal? From the lingering touches to the heart-stopping eye contact, everything felt too genuine. Even behind-the-scenes clips fed the flames, the comfort, the care, the way Edan called him wife, half-jokingly. And yet, when asked directly about his orientation, Anson always deflected with grace. Never denial, just silence. The kind that says more than any statement ever could. So, is Anson Lo gay? We're not here to out anyone. That's not our job. But let's not pretend the speculation comes from nowhere. It's in the way he represents vulnerability, softness, and sincerity in a culture that rarely allows men, especially idols, to be all three. And whether he's queer or not, Anson has become a symbol for quiet courage, for challenging gender norms in ways that feel natural, not forced. In a society still catching up, his presence alone is a kind of rebellion. And maybe that's what people really feel drawn to, not just the glitter, but the quiet strength behind it. Keung To didn't just rise to fame, he exploded. With a face sculpted for magazine covers, vocals made for heartbreak ballads, and moves sharp enough to slice through any dance floor, he became Hong Kong's golden boy almost overnight. Fans loved him. Brands chased him. Parents approved. But in the corners of every fan forum and behind every perfectly lit performance, a different story whispered. One that didn't show up in press kits or brand deals. A story not of scandal, but of softness. Of glances that lingered a beat too long. Of smiles that bloomed when certain male bandmates were near. At first, people chalked it up to idol chemistry. Harmless, sellable, scripted. But then came the pattern. The way Keung To would light up during interviews next to one specific male member of Mirror. The way he defended queer fans on social media, not just politely but fiercely, like someone speaking from a personal truth. And then, in 2022, a post went viral. A blurry photo. Two men. One looked suspiciously like Keung. The other, an anonymous figure with his hand gently resting on Keung's back. It wasn't just the pose, it was the comfort in it. The kind of comfort that doesn't come from a PR stunt. To this day, Keung To hasn't denied the rumors. Not once. He hasn't confirmed them either. But in an industry where idols rush to clarify the second a whisper arises, his silence feels intentional. And maybe that's his quiet rebellion. In fan meets, his eyes still sparkle when boys hand him love letters. In lyrics, he sings of love without pronouns. And when asked about his ideal type, he answers with a smirk. Someone who understands me. Whatever Keung To's truth may be, one thing's clear. His presence is giving queer fans across Asia something more powerful than a label. It's giving them hope. Xian had it all. The voice, the face, the abs, and the jawline that could probably cut glass. A member of Hong Kong's sensational boy band Mirror, Xian wasn't just a pop star, he was a brand. Flawless on camera, poised in interviews, and always just the right mix of charming and untouchable. But behind that PR-perfect smile, fans began to notice something. A softness, a silence, a refusal to play along with the standard ladies' man script so many other idols leaned into. And in the hyper-controlled world of cantopop, where every move is micromanaged, what you don't say can speak louder than what you do. In 2023, things got interesting. A video surfaced of Xian being unusually affectionate with another male celebrity backstage. Lingering touches, whispered laughter, eyes that seemed to say more than just, "We're colleagues." Fans split instantly. Was it just brotherhood? Or something more? Then came the moment that turned whispers into waves. A now-deleted Instagram comment from a known queer stylist in Hong Kong, casually referring to Xian as one of us. Screenshots were taken. Chaos ensued. Neither Xian nor his management ever denied or addressed it, and somehow that silence felt louder than any denial could have been. Add to that the fact that Xian has never been romantically linked to any female celebrity, despite being one of the most eligible bachelors in the city, and the questions only deepened. But maybe this story isn't just about Xian. Maybe it's about us, our obsession with knowing, labeling, and defining people who never asked to be put under a microscope. What if Xian is just living his truth quietly, away from headlines and hashtags? Or what if he's still figuring it out like so many others? Either way, there's power in his stillness. In a world that screams, his calm has become its own kind of statement. And whether the rumors are true or not, Xian reminds us that being seen doesn't always mean being explained. If you believe in stories that challenge norms and spark real conversations, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Your support helps us keep sharing voices that matter. Let's grow this community together. When Jer Lau first stepped into the spotlight as part of Hong Kong's mega boy band Mirror, he wasn't just another singer with sharp features and a honey-smooth voice. He was a quiet storm, reserved, observant, and always a little out of step with the flashier members. Jer drew fans in not with volume, but with subtlety. His eyes spoke of stories not yet told, and the way he handled fame, with both grace and hesitation, as if there was a line he refused to cross or reveal. As his popularity skyrocketed, so did the whispers, rumors of a secret life, a quiet defiance in his body language, and the notable lack of female love interests despite endless opportunities crafted by the media. Speculation turned more intense in 2021 after Jer posted a heartfelt message about identity, acceptance, and living truthfully, without ever saying why he wrote it. Fans noticed his deep bond with fellow male artists, particularly intimate onstage chemistry and personal photos with Keung To and Edan Lui that didn't just look like brotherhood. In one viral moment, Jer was seen clutching Edan's hand long after a performance ended, not for cameras but out of instinct. Online forums lit up, and the Hong Kong LGBTQ+ press started drawing parallels between Jer's journey and other closeted icons of Cantopop's past. A well-known queer columnist in Stan News even praised Jer's quiet courage for opening the door without making noise. But Jer never confirmed. He never denied either. That silence spoke louder than words. In 2023, during an emotionally charged interview, Jer paused when asked about love. "I think everyone deserves to be seen for who they are," he said slowly. "Not just what they do." It wasn't a confession, but it wasn't nothing. Fans, especially queer fans, heard it loudly. For many, Jer represents a quiet revolution in a conservative industry. A man who doesn't play by the heteronormative script, yet refuses to give the media an easy headline. Whether the rumors are true or not almost doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that people see themselves in him, in his pauses, his glances, his refusal to explain away his softness. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay exactly who you are, even when no one's asking you to. Jackson Wang, rapper, dancer, businessman, heartthrob. The man wears more hats than a pop-up market in Hong Kong. From his GQ photo shoots to late-night talk show charm offensives, Jackson seemed to master the art of duality. The tough guy with the soft smile, the athlete turned artist, the flirt who always stops just short of saying something too real. But for years, eagle-eyed fans have been picking up on a third layer, one he's never confirmed, never denied, but somehow always danced around. A queer-coded charisma, a different kind of intimacy. And the real question, was Jackson just good at fan service, or was he hiding in plain sight? The rumors didn't come out of nowhere. They came from patterns. From a handful of interviews where Jackson praised male beauty with a little too much conviction. From that 2018 live stream where he shyly admitted, "If I like someone, I like someone, no labels." From behind-the-scenes clips where his lingering touches and deep stares toward male idols felt unscripted. And then there's that infamous night at Paris Fashion Week, where he was caught walking unusually close, arm-touching, head low, with a Chinese male stylist long rumored to be more than just a colleague. Fans who shipped him with GOT7 bandmate Jin Young called it proof. Skeptics called it coincidence. But the silence? That spoke volumes. Of course, Jackson's never come out, and maybe he never will. In an industry and a country where masculinity is still boxed in, silence can be a form of survival. But it's also a mirror. Because the way people react to his ambiguity says more about us than about him. Maybe the point isn't whether Jackson is gay, bi, fluid, or just a master of modern mystery. Maybe the point is that his story, or non-story, reminds us how badly we still crave labels, still fear the in-between, still confuse softness with scandal. But behind the stardom is a man whose choices, words, and gestures have already cracked open conversations across cultures. And if he ever does speak his truth, you can bet the world will be listening. Jianci didn't just grow up on stage, he owned it. From winning dance competitions as a teen to debuting in the boy group Mike, he was never just following the beat. He was the beat. With his fluid moves, expressive eyes, and a stage presence that blurred lines rather than drew them, Jianci became someone you couldn't quite pin down. And that's exactly when the whispers began. Was it the way he held a glance too long? Or the way he wore fashion that played with gender before it was trendy? Fans started wondering, and wondering loudly. The real fuel came with Winter Begonia. a period drama dripping in elegance and queer undertones. Jianci played a Peking opera artist with so much tenderness and emotional depth, it felt lived, not performed. Then came Under the Skin, where his character's chemistry with male co-star Jianci had fans writing essays and making GIFs that felt more like love letters. Add in his playful interviews, his soft way of dodging dating questions, and the fan-circulated matching rings theory. Suddenly, this wasn't just fantasy. It was fan-detected pattern. Screenshots, timestamps, overlapping city stops, all shared with captions like they weren't just acting, they were almost confessing. Here's the thing, Jianci never made a public statement. No dramatic denial, no Instagram note, just silence. The kind that leaves room for imagination. And maybe that's the point. He keeps playing characters who break the mold, who love softly, fiercely, and sometimes quietly. In doing so, Jianci has become something rare, a star who lets ambiguity do the talking. Maybe he's not hiding, maybe he's just choosing not to explain. Either way, he's become a quiet icon for everyone who's ever lived between the lines. Xiao Zhan, China's golden boy, the smile that could launch 1,000 brands, and the voice that melted hearts across Asia. He wasn't just a pop idol, he was a phenomenon. With The Untamed, he soared into superstardom, capturing millions of fans worldwide. But with that kind of fame came a storm of rumors. Whispers that behind the flawless skin and gentlemanly charm, there was a secret the industry didn't want you to know. Something soft, something queer, something real. It started with Wang. Their chemistry in The Untamed was electric. But too electric, some said. Fans dissected every stare, every smile, every behind-the-scenes moment like detectives. And then came the fanfic explosion. But here's where things got strange. Instead of brushing off the rumors, Xiao Zhan's team went nuclear. They cracked down on gay fanfiction, sued fans, and tried to shut down entire communities. Why such a harsh reaction, unless it hit a little too close to home? Add in the fact that he's never been seen with a serious female partner, despite being in the public eye constantly, and you start to wonder, was the silence hiding something? Of course, Xiao Zhan has never come out, and maybe he never will. But in an industry that punishes anything outside the norm, his story isn't just about gossip. It's about survival, about how queerness, even in rumor form, can rattle a billion-dollar image. Maybe he's gay, maybe he's not. But the overreaction, the censorship, and the carefully curated image tell us one thing. Being suspected of being gay in China still costs more than it should. And that's the real story. So what do you think? Are the rumors just fan fantasy, or a reflection of a truth too complicated to say out loud? Leave your thoughts below. Let's talk openly. And if you believe in telling stories that challenge the surface, hit subscribe. The truth deserves more than silence. Xian rose to fame as the strong, silent type, the kind of man who could break hearts with a glance and mend them with a single line of dialogue. Whether in Go-Go Squid or any of his brooding dramas, he always played it cool, almost too cool. Fans couldn't help but notice, behind that flawless image was something unreadable. His Instagram? Impeccable. His red carpet looks? Always polished, never playful. And while his co-stars sparked dating rumors left and right, Xian? Radio silence. Not even a staged tabloid romance to throw fans off the scent. That kind of quiet? It speaks volumes. In 2019, the whispers got louder, especially after his unusually intense chemistry with fellow actor Zhu Yilong. Their joint interviews were something else. Side glances that lingered too long. Nervous laughter. Fans coined terms like Shilong Nation overnight. And it wasn't just about wishful thinking. Chinese netizens pulled out screenshots of backstage footage where Xian seemed overly tender with certain male colleagues. A hand on a shoulder that lingered. A smirk exchanged when they thought cameras weren't rolling. He once referred to a close male friend as his soulmate in an old interview, and the internet did not let that slide. Some fans even unearthed a deleted Weibo post from 2016 where he hinted that love doesn't need labels, then quickly took it down. Classic damage control, or just someone testing the waters? Now, has Xian ever come out? No. Has he denied the rumors? Also no. Which, in a culture where most stars rush to assert their heterosexuality at the slightest breeze of gossip, is telling. Maybe he's just private, maybe he's waiting, or maybe, like many queer stars before him, he's learned that mystery is both protection and power. And honestly, the lack of a loud denial might just be the boldest statement of all. Because in an industry built on image, sometimes silence says, "Believe what you want. I'm still me." Edan Lui always looked like the guy next door. If your neighbor just happened to be ridiculously handsome, effortlessly charming, and always ready to break into song with a boyish grin that could melt glass. As one of the brightest stars from Mirror, Hong Kong's mega-popular boy group, Edan didn't just sing. He sparkled. He had the kind of energy that lit up every stage, every screen, and every timeline. But for all his sunshine, fans couldn't help but notice the clouds. A certain softness, a closeness with other members, a way of looking, especially at him. And that's when the whispers began. Was it just fan service or something more? See, if you followed Edan for long enough, you've probably seen the interviews, the touches, the lingering stares with Anson Lo, another Mirror member often at the center of queer speculation. Fans dubbed them the Lo Lui ship, and this ship, it sailed. From accidental cuddles on live streams to songs that felt a little too personal, Edan's interactions always sparked online wildfire. And then came the receipts, archived clips of Edan defending LGBTQ+ rights in interviews, photos with pride flags, the moment he wore a rainbow pin on a national show without a single word, just a smile. That wasn't a costume, that was a quiet statement. And for many, it wasn't just support, it was self-recognition, coded maybe, but visible if you were looking close enough. Now here's the thing, Edan's never officially come out, and maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe his truth isn't a press conference. Maybe it's in the details, the art he creates, the people he supports, and the silence he keeps, not out of shame, but power. In a city where the media often avoids the topic altogether, Edan walks a fine line, never confirming, never denying, always showing love without labels. And honestly, that takes guts. Because sometimes, being queer in the public eye isn't about waving a flag. It's about surviving long enough to hold space for others to wave theirs. So what do you think? Is Edan just being a good ally, or telling his story in the only way he can? Behind the glitz, the gossip, and the gay rumors, these stories reveal something deeper, a truth about identity, silence, and strength. In every rumor, there's a reflection of the world we've built, one where being different still sparks whispers. But maybe it's time we stop whispering and start listening. Because these stories aren't just about celebrities, they're about how we treat people who dare to live outside the script. If this video made you think, or see things differently, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other videos. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep fighting for visibility, and let's make space for every kind of love. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next story.